you're teaching them a way to think for themselves. You're teaching them a way to kind of really go, okay, well, what's actually going on here, instead of them relying on, for lack of a better term, the system, which I love. Right. And now obviously you've come out with a children's book that begins this process at a young age. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I'm in love with the fact that you've done this, again, starting in your home and then seeing an opportunity and saying, hey, let's spread this knowledge to everybody. Talk a little bit about that book.
Oh, dude, the book's awesome. It started with my buddy who called me, and it was like 2 or 3 calls. He was asking me for advice because he knew that I read to my boys, and like I got like most books that come out for kids that are like have any value, like I'm buying them, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, I had this idea of taking like personal development books and turning them into kids' storybooks. And he's like, do you know of anything that exists like that? I'm like, no. You know, there's like the Tuttle Twins, but the Tuttle Twins is like philosophy and economics, and they turn them into storybooks.
Right.
So I started giving him some advice. After the second or third call, he was like, do you want to write this with me? And I was like, dude, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, dude, we started to write it, and of course, it was so funny because we both wanted to start with how to win friends and influence people. And what a good time for all of that, man, because you know, our society just doesn't know how to have difficult conversations. They don't know how to give constructive criticism or take it. They don't
Yeah.
know the value of like looking someone in the eye, remembering their name, remembering important things about them, like their birthdays, you know, disagreeing agreeably, and just knowing how to influence people without manipulating them and all those things. So that book was so freaking fun to write, man. Like, number one, we basically took the principles in the book and we used not only the protagonists to tell, like, you know, we had like a mentor guy that he was kind of giving him a lot, but then sometimes the friends would do it, and then a lot of the time the antagonist would be showing you exactly what not to do.
Yeah.
And we had like it was a mission to find an illustrator for the cover. And finally, when we found the right one, she did something really cool. Like, if you look at the cover, all the bad guys have really small ears and the good guys have like kind of bigger ears. So it's like all
Smart.
about that concept, you know, listen more, listen and talk less, or at least seek to understand before you say things. So we wrote that. The book came out awesome. It's the first in a series. And we worked on a workbook because, of course, you know, there's a lot of kids are going to be going to school. Their parents are not going to be homeschooling them,
Yeah.
and we wanted the parents to be engaged. So there's like every chapter, there's, you know, something that you can look at the finer points of the chapter, the takeaways. I did a crossword puzzle, a word search, Mad Libs, you know, a maze. But then my partner Adrian did this awesome thing. It's like this checklist that's at the end of the workbook where, if the kids can buy into this, man, I will be so happy. Because think about the value of something like this, where you have this list of, let's say it's like 20 items, and you can try one a week or a few a week, and you like, one of them is like, you know, find 3 people today and learn their birthdays, you know,
Mm.
or you know, today find someone at school who seems to be like a loner, and start asking them things about themselves, and then, you know, come share it with your parents, you know, those things, dude. Like, think about that. I know I did, like, I read that book after grad school. Like, I was going into the you know, the business world, and I wanted to like really be able to network better and stuff. Bottom line, I don't care if you're an accountant, I don't care if you're a line worker. Well, those barely exist anymore, but you know, like, it doesn't matter what you do, you know, you have to learn how to deal with people, and you have to know how to do that. And
Yeah.
now more than ever. So yeah, man, that was a lot of fun.
Dude, and I love those activities for kids, because I met with a guy yesterday from a bank. We met for coffee. He reached out randomly. He's like, I love what you're doing. Let's meet up. And I was like, okay, I got nothing else going on. And
Yeah.
so grabbed a coffee, and we were talking about, he has 6 kids, all under the age of 11.
Wow.
And him and his wife were thinking, like, they were talking about moving. And he's like, you know, kids don't really care if you move anymore, because they don't really have those friendships that we had when we were kids. Because
That's
of
crazy.
screens and
Yeah.
social media, the idea of true human connection and diving deep and understanding somebody for who they are doesn't exist anymore, because it doesn't need to exist anymore. And so it was an intriguing conversation, and to lead to the idea, like, hey, approach somebody and ask them what their birthday is. Don't forget what it is, right? Go up to the kid who's a loner and ask him what's going on and learn about him. That changes the game because it gets a kid out of their comfort zone, which is a screen, and has them really start to engage. And I think that's the only way we can save this next generation, which I'm really worried about, by the way. Dude, that was part of our morning walk conversation, me and my girlfriend. I'm like, I'm a little worried about this next generation and what's happening. So I'm glad you're doing that, man. So where can people get that book?
Yeah, if they go to, so the name of the series is Unexplainable Adventures. This one's called The Power of Influence. So if they go to unexplainableadventures.com, they can go through the website. They can go on Amazon. There's a Kindle version. There's a paperback version, and there's also an audiobook, which my partner did, and it's got some it's even got sound effects and stuff. So like, you know, if you're in the car taking the kids to school, cool. Or just like on a road trip, you can listen to the audio version, and that'll be good. Cause like, I think it's, no matter what, dude, this is not something that you throw at your kid and say, "Hey, read this." Like, you got to be invested as a parent, period. You know, if there's one thing I got to tell parents, man, like, we have to be, for me, it's just so important for us to, because I was told way before I had children about how time flies, and like, number one, granted, we're gonna leave them with some sort of neuroses. Like, that's just gonna happen, you know? So like, the goal is to, like, as little neuroses as possible.
Limit it as much as possible.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to talk to a therapist. I just hope you don't have to feel like you have to go there every day.
Yeah,
that's exactly the
goal. Yeah. So that's, you know, just being there is so huge, you know, like, just spending just a little bit of time with them. And it's got to be more than, you know, how was school, because they're going to get so sick of that. They're just going to say, yeah, it was good. Anything new? No. I mean, no, it's got to be like, you know, even just having a little bit more intentionality. Like, you know, what was the most challenging thing you went through today? What was the best part of your day? You know, like, you know, and then like, now you can be like, you can even be like, now you're the problem solver, and it's like, okay, so what can we do to fix that? Like, do you like the way you reacted to that? Is you know, is there something that you can change? Now you're getting them to talk more, but it's gotta be, you know, if you're a salesperson, understand, like, take those things that you learn for sales, where you're trying to uncover needs, and apply it to your kids, you know?